Call to order, so we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have the agenda. I did have one thing that I wanted to add under it for myself, so I'll just add that as number 2 for the, there's a recycling late charge invoice that we got. So I'll have a discussion about that. And then we'll adjust the agenda so that way we can have Travis here to have some of the other discussions. So
Chairman, if I could too, if you could have one item under myself, an item that just came to my attention late yesterday, dealing with the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan and their use of the fairgrounds.
Yep. Okay, and then we want to move we'll start with the recycling reports. Actually, why don't we just start with the fairgrounds and kind of then go to the recycling? And then we can probably, hopefully by then Travis will be here. So we're going to start with the fairground manager's monthly report. Is Polly not going to be here today?
No.
Okay. So
Give a quick update. We did meet with the Fair Board recently, regarding their power bill. Once again, and this is an annual discussion we have with them. We settled on the amount of $2,000 for this year that they would pay. But in the meantime, what we're doing is looking at breaking up the, what would you call it? Utility.
the electrical.
Yeah, the read.
At the front, we're looking into, and I've got a meeting with Thunder Bay on the 24th at 10 a.m. to give us some pricing to break that panel box down into 4 separate meters. So we can try to get away from the demand factor, because that's, I mean, I'm not exact number, but I know we paid well over $10,000 just in the demand factor to have those boxes there. So if we can get that cut out, I mean, that'll save us good money. So
Okay. And when did you say you were doing that?
by the 24th, 10 a.m.
Okay.
We'll be meeting with the Fair Board again before Christmas, to discuss how we're gonna partner up on, I guess, achieving that breaking down the different units.
Okay. So are there any other questions regarding the fairgrounds monthly report? If not, I'd look for a motion to receive and file the.
I'll make that motion.
So we have a motion, support, any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Next item is the recycling report. Should have had that to review. If there's any questions on that? If not, I'd look for a motion to receive and file the recycling report as well.
I'll make that motion also.
Yes,
Okay. Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, those 2 reports.
Chairman, before you go to Nikki's presentation, I don't believe we offered for public comment. We should probably do this.
Who's?
Nikki?
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, we totally forgot about public comment. Because I was starting at the bottom. So we'll just open it up right now if there's anybody, public comment. No? Anyone online? Okay. Okay, so we'll close public comment. So that didn't impact us too much. And then we'll go to Nikki.
Thank you and good morning.
Right. Thank you for not going completely in reverse order. I happen to be doing Judge Curtis's courtroom right now as well, too. They're holding things up for me. I think I did a pretty detailed memo explaining why I'm here this morning regarding one of our home improvement loans. Unfortunately, when I read through my memo this morning, I have missed a couple of words that created a typo that I'm a little embarrassed about in the last paragraph, and I'd like to just point that out. Halfway down that last paragraph, I said agreeing to subordination does not change our position in any way, and not doing so would in fact be detrimental to the homeowners' efforts. And so I apologize. It kind of gave that a different vibe where you were probably wondering, does she want us to approve it or doesn't she want us to approve it? So I'm not going to reiterate what's in my memo, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has, or if it's just a process that you're unfamiliar with. If you want me to touch on it any more than I did, I'm happy to do so. But I do think this is a good thing for our program. These requests do come in once in a while. It's not every day. Probably the last time I was before you asking for one of these loans to be subordinated has been well over a year ago, maybe even 2. But when they do come in, I evaluate those details that I've summarized in my memo just to make sure that we're protecting our interests in the loan that we have in place. And I've done that very thoroughly, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Do we have any questions for Nikki on this? If not, I would just look for a motion to approve the subordinate, the existing home improvement loan, and then number 005-03-HI as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Motion and support. This one here. Why don't we do a roll call on that one?
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
I would go to the
I was just gonna go.
maintenance superintendent.
I was gonna, because I'm bouncing all over the place. I don't want to miss anything.
I'm trying to keep the bigger items until the chairman gets here. We can.
Right. So I need someone to keep track of me afterwards and make sure I didn't miss everybody. Okay. Nick, you want to give us an update?
All right, so we should be finishing up with the health department, the painting and flooring that should be wrapped up by the end of this week. I got to get in there today or tomorrow. I know we had a few marks on the wall from flooring, which is to be expected. So we got a little bit of a touch paint. Other than that, I mean, I think it went pretty smooth, went as far as trying to work a third-party contractor in that was removing the dental chairs. So I'm real pleased with how everything worked over there. Other projects we got going on. Today, we're gonna tackle that cardboard dispenser at the jail. It's a big wooden, been kind of messed up. We've kind of band-aided it for the past couple of years. Well, I think now it's finally kicked the bucket, so we're gonna get that taken care of. And I have spoken with Troy Smith about the generator, 200K generator that we got,
Troy Brown.
or Troy Brown.
Justin Smith was probably who we initially talked to.
Oh, okay. Well, he come out and looked at the 200K generator that we recently got and seems to think that it's worth getting a parts list for. So I have to keep everybody updated on that moving forward, but he seems to think it's a decent enough unit to put some more time, put some more money in, and that would be beneficial. I mean, that's 200K, so you run a lot of stuff with it. I already spoke about the Thunder Bay on the 24th, so that's all I got. Thank you.
Where are we at? Yeah, did he just give you a list of?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I had this at 9:30 in my calendar. Oh, yeah.
So I thought you can start off with the courthouse, just presentation.
Tim. Yeah, hi, Tim.
Approve the agenda. Didn't approve the agenda.
He mentioned he was gonna move.
Well, good morning and thank you for having me. I'm Tim Kuhnlein from Barrett's Responsible and I'm here with other representatives. I asked them to introduce themselves.
Clint Jaworski, I'm the president.
I'm Margaret Decker, I'm the second vice president.
I'm our second treasurer.
So thank you. I think you know why we're here. You were given some information in advance. For those of you that don't know, in July of 2026, we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of our Declaration of Independence. It is the sesquicentennial. So it's a big event for our nation and for our local communities, especially the institutions of self-governance. That's kind of a miraculous thing that we've done this for as long as we have and as well as we have. It's also the 50th anniversary of the Alpena Bypath. You may know that the Alpena Bypath stands for Bicentennial Path. It was a walkway, bikeway that was initiated in 1974 for a 1976 reveal at the Bicentennial. The name was given by local school children who voted on the name for this installation and what it means for the community. And the original idea, this was fostered by the Thunder Bay Arts Council, believe it or not, Recreation, working with the Besser Fund at the time, what is now the Besser Foundation, and the city of Alpena. And we all know the Alpena Bypath has expanded extensively as a result of many stakeholders, including our local units of government. But the original plan was intended to include sculptures, incorporating arts with recreation. And the original sculpture was installed at the Besser Museum. It's the large bronze fountain outside in the front of the museum. It was about a $45,000 investment at that time. Today, Gary Dolly did some research. If we had to replace that, it would be about $150,000. It was done by an artist out of Cranbrook. So local a Michigan-based artist. The idea was, that wasn't installed until 1979. And the idea was to continue to add sculptures. That kind of fell by the wayside. And in 2017, the Arts Council at its 45th anniversary reinitiated the sculptural component of the Alpena Bypath concept. And since 2017, we've added, I think it's 17 sculptures, roughly 1 to 5 a year, some smaller, some larger. And we named this project the Art Vision Alpena Project to resurrect the sculpture component along the bypath. And so our plan was to conclude this at the sesquicentennial, the 250th anniversary, when the whole concept was initiated for the 200th anniversary. And so here we are. We're elated. We've gotten quite a bit of support already. And we, through our conceptualization of this, ended up falling on 2 sculptures, one that will be placed at the City Hall, and we'd like to place the second on the county courthouse lawn, kind of focusing on our 2 local units, major level local units of government, to showcase these representations of our nation and its history. So you have the package of information there. All this is detailed. You can see the original plan. You can see the Art Vision plan. And you can kind of get an idea of the sculptures that have been added. There's some representations of budgets for some of the more recent sculptures. I come before you today to get your support for the general idea. But ideally, we need permission to place this sculpture, if in fact it happens, on the courthouse lawn, if you're so inclined. You should have received a Google map with a on the space that I'm suggesting. And for those of you that don't have the visual in front of you, you're looking at the courthouse, standing in the street. on the left side, there's a little space there. It looks like there may have been a tree back in the day, but it's been gone since I've been in Alpena. And it's just a really nice sort of oval space that would allow trees as a backdrop. And it would be really a fitting place, particularly, I think, for the Ann Gildner sculpture, which is of an eagle made out of various metals, welded, landing on a tree trunk. And you see a representation of that there. You may know Ann Gildner's work. She was our first contributor to the sculpture series. She did the blue heron sculpture across from the hospital. It's incredible work. Each one of those blue heron has wings with about 300 individually cut and welded stainless steel feathers. So I really am confident that the quality of the work we'll get will be pretty amazing and befitting of our county property. So I'll leave it at that because I think you get the general idea. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about the sculptures, the project in general, and the request for the location.
Just out of curiosity, this will be built here locally?
Ann Gildner works out of Ironwood Studio, which is part of the Tom Moran operation up in Onaway.
Okay,
Yeah, she
Okay.
has a studio in that facility.
gotcha.
And you may know Tom Moran was last year's contribution. He built the beautiful hand outside the hospital.
Yep.
Incidentally, that foundation was just finished thanks to Bedrock.
Nice.
Bedrock would be likely doing the foundation here. The foundation would be a flat surface of about a 4-foot radius. So it wouldn't have a huge footprint. And then the sculpture would sit atop that and be affixed to that concrete base. The sculpture itself is, you see the dimensions there, if I recall, it's about 9.5 feet tall. And it has something like a 7-foot span of sorts. So the footprint on the ground would be smaller, but it would sort of cascade out. The size of this would look really great in front of the courthouse. And I think the metals, you can see there are various types of metals she's incorporating, including rock as well. It would be a nice contrast to the concrete facade of the courthouse, creating an aesthetic balance.
So I know originally when this was brought to us, I was under the impression that we were to pick two.
Yes.
And I have my personal preferences on this. Just one of the 8 commissioners, but so I do have my thoughts on which one I think
Sure.
would be more impressive for the courthouse, as well as a location. I know you had indicated in the front, and I know Jesse and I have had a lot of conversations with the front of our courthouse, trees and different things. He knows how I feel about the trees. But if you're looking at the aerial view, I know we have the memorial at the other end of the corner of the courthouse. And my thought and some of the discussions that I've had, I think that the opposite corner might be even better for us because nothing is blocking the view of the courthouse. And I know, like I said, Jesse and I have had a lot of conversations with that. So, and again, this is just me personally talking, that I think that it might be more impressive in my mind to have it at the opposite corner because we already have that memorial at the other end.
I hear what you're saying, and that would be perfectly fine. We're not stuck on any of this. It's just a starting point for conversation. I get your point. It would be a great balance. It doesn't disrupt the historic integrity of the courthouse facade. That is a very prominent corner. That's one of the
I was gonna say
real
that is it.
objectives is the visibility, particularly from cars. So that'd be perfectly fine. In terms of which sculpture, we've already presented all of this to the city. They're totally on board. And Cindy Johnson made it very clear at their last meeting that they're willing to swap sculptures and do whatever you guys want. They're willing to work with. So that's all fair game.
Okay,
We just want to see it happen.
I'll just throw this out there. It's a very impressive eagle one. So the eagle on the tree with the rock.
That's the one you prefer.
In speaking, I think I've almost spoke to almost all the members, and I think that's the majority, which I think is what you and I had kind of talked about, so.
That's where we're landing. The city is very comfortable with that. The other sculpture is a sort of a rendition of a Thunderbird eagle. It's interpreted how you want. It's done by Ellen Wilson. She's a wonderful sculptor. She just finished the sculpture at Culligan Plaza. And she's done a number of other things for us. But the city was elated with that in front of the courthouse. That sculpture will go likely, we have to finalize this, but on the front lawn of the city hall opposite of the cannon. So, and the nice thing about that, it's Indiana gray limestone. It'll be a nice contrast to the darker shade of limestone of the courthouse. So this is all actually falling nicely, kind of like it's meant to be.
So this sculpture, the one with the eagle that I was just mentioning,
Yes.
is that going to be, is there a sitting area for this too as well, or is this?
That would not be incorporated in the costs.
Okay.
But you could certainly.
I'm just wondering where it would be positioned to allow for
Yeah,
something like that.
on that corner, I can imagine if the foundation were such that we expanded the floor space, that you could incorporate some benches. I can imagine something on a semicircle type thing.
Yeah.
Set back far enough from the sidewalks on that corner. That'd be beautiful. I don't know about trees. There's a vacant space there and I don't have the map in front of me. But I think
Yeah, and I think we do have a little bit of money set aside for, if we wanted to place a sidewalk leading up and around it, you know, kind of similar to the War Memorial, where you'd have that walkway, so.
yeah, but the money that we have for the sculpture, both of these sculptures is coming from the sources you see on the promotional material here. So the Besser Foundation, they've been with us since day one. The city of Alpena has been with us from day one. The Alpena County Youth and Recreation Committee is provisionally committed to us, pending your support of the sculpture being placed on the property. And that's why I'm here today. And then the First Federal Legacy Foundation. So we have all of $15,000 raised for what are two separate $25,000 commissions. Each one of these sculptures is $25,000. That's the artist commission. The foundational work is historically by Deborah. We've donated every penny of labor, materials, equipment, and so forth for all of these foundations, which is just incredible. And then we are ready to launch our campaign, public campaign for this Giving Tuesday. And you see the promo material here. There'll be a big blitz and we'll begin the process of getting the community contributions to finish off our fundraising effort. We have no question we'll do it. But that's kind of the game plan there.
I'd just like to say I really like it.
You like it? And I'm glad to hear that. It's always a nerve-wracking experience when you're talking about art in public spaces and whatnot.
I love the eagle.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know Ann Gilnersberg, but she's a woman sculptor of welding, and that is atypical. And she just loves working up there at that facility, and she is mastering her craft. I mean, it's unbelievable what she can create. Metal. And she's done a lot of work lately on eagles for private. And she's really excited about this. And I think she'll be elated. It's going to be on the county courthouse property.
I think the people will like it
I do too. So
I thank you for bringing it.
our pleasure. We're just so excited about this all coming together at a very important time for all of us, I think, as we think about next year. So I don't know how, I mean, we can finalize the details. I don't need a total yes right now, as long as I know we can proceed with marketing this, without, you guys getting offended that this will happen. How it happens, we'll sort the details out. We're very flexible. But this is going to become very, very public in the next couple of weeks. And I want to be able to say that the Alpena County Youth and Rec Committee is on board, the partners are on board. This sculpture will be somewhere on the property. If I could just get a yay to that, I can feel comfortable moving forward.
I was going to say, I would make a motion to allow the sculpture that we discussed at the location, pending any issues that we may run into if we do use that location.
I'll support that.
Great. All looks good for you.
Thank you. One last thing, we did ask the city of Alpena to establish a sesquicentennial commission to help coalesce our local community surrounding festivities that we might envision for celebrating the anniversary and the anniversary of the declaration, but also the bypath. And they were very agreeable to that. I asked them to reach out and together the two units of government along with the townships can pull something together. I know Rachel Smolinski has some ideas about things they already have planned and how we can coordinate and just really make this a local celebration. Incidentally, we intend to have the sculptures installed in June. There's going to be so much chaos around the 4th of July. We'd like them in place. We can just kind of step back, relax and enjoy it. And that way they'll be there on the 4th. So whatever celebration, if we want to plan around the occasion, could potentially be centered around these things as well. For example, dedications, whatever the case may be. We can sort out these details later, but I'd encourage us to start planning for some sort of commission.
Sounds great.
So Chairman, I'm sorry,
We've
just,
got
I was gonna say, if I could just let him know, so where we go from here is the recommendation will go to the consent calendar next Tuesday.
Okay.
Once the full board approves it, then
Okay.
there's no going back at that point for the most part.
Okay. Okay, is there,
You won't have to be here for that.
okay, is there any objection? Because we have a mailer that has to go out today or tomorrow. If you foresee any reason that we can't do
You're fine.
And there's four of us, well, we have to vote, but
we could put out a poll vote, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just have conversations and yeah, I can, if I see an issue, I'll let you know.
But if this is public, you're not going to be concerned about.
No.
And
I was just going to say, there's four of us here, depending on how we just vote.
When again, I spoke to most of the board, except for maybe one or two.
Even if
They all like the same.
Commissioner in back of you gives a yes or no handshake, yes or no. I think the majority of that,
Okay,
and it's on the consent calendar, so
okay, great.
I highly doubt anybody's going to pull this off to
Okay,
have that discussion.
feel comfortable
Yeah.
having this revealed. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've got
Congratulations.
motion from Commissioner Kozlowski, support from Commissioner Fournier. Should we do I guess we'll do all in favor vote.
Good voice.
All in favor of moving forward, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, motion carried. Now we'll move on to Nick. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yesterday, but I was out of the office, so. I didn't think I was getting it.
I don't like late around here.
I don't, yeah. No, that's what it's. I wasn't interested.
That was with sarcasm.
I know.
You know.
I did have a question. So on the support. Third. Do you want to just touch on that? Or do you want to hold off on
Yeah,
that?
because we have this letter as well. I'm still looking, if you want to give just a quick overview that's out there. Discuss it.
Hey, well, you get started.
All right. Good morning.
All right.
Here's the report from last month's airport numbers. So our employments are up. They've been up all year. If they continue to stay this way, it looks like we're going to have the best year in the last 6 years that we've had for employments.
I'm just gonna say though, over the last 6 years, you know, especially like 4 or 5 years ago has been tough, so.
It was, and the numbers were down, but we almost, we were a few thousands short for considering how long we had the airport shut down. And plus we also had weather events during that period. So we would have been on track to make our numbers. But anytime that we have any kind of discrepancies where the airport shut down, we can always go in and ask for revisions on their numbers, and they'll take into consideration, what circumstances we fall under. So, but this year, the numbers are up. We met our employments actually, beginning of October. So like I said, we're at 1152 right now for employments, and that was by the end of October. Total for last year was 11,150. So like I said, we're up substantially. So, we don't see those numbers falling off. They've been increasing steadily. Hopefully they continue, and hopefully the weather holds off. Fuel sales, again, we're set to break last year's numbers. We should be quite a bit above everything that we did last year. Last year, again, was our first full year as a fueling agent. I think there was some hesitation. We did mainly with the jet fuel, the SkyWest contract fuel is where we do most of our fueling for the jet fuel. So as of right now, we're at 174,000 gallons. Last year, we did a total of 150,000 gallons. So that's increasing. We should be over the 200,000 gallon mark with them. On our retail sales, again, 23,000 last year to date, or last year total, 46,765 to date right now. So we're again above. The 100 low lead sales, we are a little lower right now. We'll break last year's numbers if the trend continues. The reason that we're a little bit lower right now is we lost 2 exercises out at the base that would have made up those numbers. So they didn't come in this year because they had issues with scheduling. If we would have gotten those, we would have been well ahead of the numbers even of last year, but we're still going to be last year's numbers. The airport equipment status. Right now, we've got everything up and running. We haven't had to really go out and push anything because luckily we haven't had weather. I came in on Monday just to make sure we did have some icing conditions. That was short-lived in the morning. It melted out by the time our commercial service showed up. But we did get a chance to run some of the equipment, no issues. And we've been running the equipment every 2 weeks regularly, just to make sure we don't have anything come up and sneak up on us this year. So activity log, on the 10th, this starts after our last airport committee meeting last month. So on the 10th, we do annual jet bridge training. So we do all the maintenance on the jet bridge because we don't have any support for that jet bridge anymore. They went out of business 6 months after we purchased it. So we are the ones that pull 90% of the maintenance. Anything else would be, if we have to call anything in, it's usually electrical. So we try to do everything we can on the mechanical end of it to keep it up and running, greasing it, just standard service, fluid changes, work on the hydraulic drives, and that's mainly fluid changes on hydraulic drives. I was out the week of 13th through 17th, 20th. So we have an emergency exercise every 3 years is the actual physical emergency exercise. Right now we're in year 2. So this has been ongoing. We had a problem. What I inherited wasn't up to specs for the FAA. So I've been actually working on this since June. and it's approved. So, and it went from a 5-page exercise to it's now 30 pages. So then this involves everybody, but to get all the information, I need everybody's training records. I need all their maintenance records. And this goes all the way to the US Coast Guard. So it's taken this long to get everybody organized, and then I could in turn submit all my information. So we do have an approved plan, which is great because the FAA has approved it and we are now back into regulations with the FAA. So we were never out. I always ask for request extensions. So that way we're always in compliance. If you work with them, they'll work with you. It's just be upfront and be honest with them and just tell them the situation you're in, and they're great to work with. Let's see here. Every year we have an annual TSA inspection. So we have people from Washington come in and they inspect all the facilities that TSA rent. So we went through and there was a discrepancy letter. They have an issue of putting their feet on the walls and stuff. So every few years we have to repaint. It's self-inflicted damage, but we are still responsible because they rent the facility from us. So this year what we're doing is I got an extension letter because I want to put instead of going through and repairing the drywall and painting it every 3 years, I'm going to go ahead and put the fiberglass reinforcement panel up. It doesn't seem to mar and it takes a hit. So if they bump their chairs into it, they hit it with baggage or whatever. It's a little bit more costly right now. It'll save us in the long run. It'll save us in labor and it'll save us in material costs also. So we're going to revamp the baggage room and the check area where TSA comes in. They do all the scanning. That seems to be the problem areas. And they're good with that. They gave me an extension on there. So when we have to schedule, TSA has to be in those areas when we work. It's a secured area, so they have to schedule with us. So they've given us the extension because they know we have to coordinate with their people so we can do it on their time. So we didn't have a problem getting the extension with that.
Does that mean like when baggage is going through or they're just in that location?
Yes. So it's both. So when baggage goes through, they swing the bags out, hit the walls.
No, I'm saying that you have to do this work.
Oh, no. It's just, I just have to have one of their employees in the area at that time. So what they have to do and what backed us up was the shutdown also. These people, they were still essential. They still came to work without pay. But we couldn't coordinate because we didn't know who was going to be there and when. So because what happened, the big fear was with TSA like Detroit, we had a couple of delays in Detroit. TSA people were using their lead time and calling in sick. So instead of go to work, I mean, they were still getting paid, but they weren't going to go in and work. So now that that's over, it should go back to normal in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But we didn't have a disruption in our passenger flow at the airport. It didn't affect us that way, but it did affect us where we couldn't schedule to get in there and get these repairs done. Let's see here. Then I had a Zoom meeting with Nikki Moore. She's a MDOT representative for us from MDOT Aeronautics, and it's just all the new forms that are coming out in 2026. I've been trying to stay in touch with MDOT Aeronautics and FAA, the Airport Administration's office out of Detroit. Any forms that involve us getting free money I want those sent up so I can at least get on the list. They know that we want everything we can get. And that's usually I'm in touch with them once a month. CRTC, another meeting with them, Airfield Operations Board meeting. They just give me a rundown what they've done on their side of the airfield for the year. And then we also in turn tell them what we did on their side of the airfield. So when when they come back and say, well, we did this, this, and this, well, I have it. Well, we did this, this, and this too on your side of the airfield. So it's not one side saying that we did more than the other. I just want to make it fair, and I want that to be on paper. So we have that report. They submit, and like I said, we do this once a year. And let's see here. Zoom meeting on the 24th. That was an FBI National Counterterrorism Zoom meeting. It's just we have a program out there. It's called Train the Trainer. So instead of having everybody sit in on these Zooms, I'll sit in on the Zoom and then I train down. So that way it's not affecting anything on the airfield. I'm not drawing people away from their duties. So I set in on that, and it's just what to look for on the airfield, suspicious activities, and what to actually might be a sign of anything to come. Normally they do something like that once a year, and they're looking to maybe start twice a year as they see fit.
Sure.
Yeah. So flood rescue plan is completed, and I did get the signatures back and the signed forms from the FAA, which is on file. Been working with the county treasurer on budget so we can eliminate lines that aren't being used, and make sure that we're utilizing all the funds efficiently. Cut out anything that may be waste. We need it in the product lines to support the airport. Nothing frivolous out there. If we can cut it, we've been working on getting rid of it. Let's see here.
I had one question for you on the CRTC meeting. Was there still any talks of them redoing or doing anything with the taxiways?
Yes. So you're going to be getting a phone call at one point, because I think it'll be point with facilities instead of airport committee meeting. So they want to put in the new taxiway. So it's going to be taxiway Charlie. So taxiway Charlie, you've got the two arm D-arms. Actually, it's taxiway Alpha and taxiway Golf. So they want to make one continuous parallel taxiway, reinforced taxiway from one to the other, not the jog that we have across the end of the cross runway and back and forth, because it's hard for them to get their cargo planes through there. It's narrow and those aren't reinforced. They can't stop on those taxiways because if they're loaded, they'll sink. They'll actually sink into the asphalt. So I talked to Major Hilco actually yesterday, and he's the one. Oh, that's right, Lieutenant. I forget. So, well, normally I tease him call him Sergeant, so it's, but anyways, so Colonel Hilco is going to Guard Bureau and with a presentation. He's going to get back to us with a date where we're going to involve RS&H, because RS&H did a lot of the design work for them on their ends of the runway also. So we're all going to sit in on the conference call, and he's going to try and get the money to fund that.
So you're talking a run or a taxiway that would parallel the runway
119.
and literally go, so you would take out that jog, because at the end of the ramp or by the ramp, the military ramp, that taxiway Charlie is at the end of the ramp.
Yes.
So is it going to go straight?
It would go straight down to Golf. It run right parallel with the runway.
Okay.
Yep. And like I said, it'd be a reinforced runway where they can run the heavy lifters, the C5s, the C17s down that. But it would also eliminate any kind of chance of accidents where they don't have to jog. And when that C5 goes by, its wings are actually out on the civilian ramp. So, I mean, you're talking 225 feet of wingspan on one side.
Yeah.
You know, so they want to get that away from us too, because we actually have to watch the general aviation aircraft that are parked on our ramp when the C5 goes by. And if it's not from a wing strike, it's from jet blast.
That's a big plane.
Yes, it comes in, if they have it fully loaded, it's just under 1 million pounds loaded. So it's like a building with wings when it comes in. It's a massive aircraft. So neat to have them. And we're going to get more exercises that involve them. That's why they're trying to get the money right there.
So then that taxiway would probably have to be concrete?
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think just certain parts of it would have to be where they would slow down. But if they do a continuous roll, they do not have to do complete concrete runway.
Well, I think
taxiway.
That was a concern where when they redid that runway where the C5 would constantly touch down, they were concerned that over time that could impact the.
Yeah, and those were those were the 1,700 foot extensions where they did the concrete. And after that, they could roll out. So there would be no impact areas.
Yeah.
It would just be a roll through area, and they have reinforced, I guess, asphalt that would carry that weight. Detroit has a lot of taxiways that are asphalt reinforced, and they're bringing 747s, which are up around those same loads, up and down that every day. So Colonel Hilco was trying to get the FAA on board to see if they would pay for any part of this, and it's going to be a real long shot. The FAA doesn't support military aircraft. So, I mean, the only thing they're going to look at is our commercial jet is the heaviest thing that's landing on our airfield that they're concerned with. But he's still going to try.
Well, and how does that, if we, again, FAA, what we have has been working, so would they, because we're going to redesign the taxiway, they don't care about that either?
No, because what we have is sufficient for what we handle out there. So they're not going to put any more money into the airport or any other airport if they don't have to. So it's like I said, they tried this with the runway to get the FAA involved with those impact zones, and they said the CRJ doesn't need it. So you know, that's their concern is the civil aircraft, military aircraft. That's why we're trying to put a package together for Guard Bureau to say how it's going to benefit the whole airport if you do this, and how it may increase more exercises coming to Alpena.
Sounds good. Thank you for the update.
So let's see here on 30 October. So TSA, I've had to, on 29 October, I went to St. Ignace. I have to have a TSA clearance so I can go in and work with any of their programs. So I had to drive up to St. Ignace and get my clearance taken care of. It's the closest office we had. And then continuing the airport security plan, it has not been updated in quite a while. So we're working on that right now with RSNH and TSA. So that's ongoing. It will continue to be ongoing as we change anything on the airfield. PFC audits, so that's passenger facility charges. We get paid for everybody that's in the seats on those aircraft every month, so we get a PFC check. And RSNH, we used to have another company that dealt with it. We kept everything in-house since RSNH had the capabilities, and they're more familiar with Alpena. We decided to stay with RSNH. So they're doing the audit. They're getting everything caught up for us because there were some discrepancies with the last company. Then on 3 November, just end of month, beginning of month, we do fuel inventory submissions. We also have to do our closeouts at the end of every month for any inspection process that's on the airfield. Let's see. Once a year, we have to supply the FAA with updated tail numbers, who owns the aircraft. This is in case that we have an aircraft that goes missing. They can go through a database and they can pull it up and see what airfield it came out of. We do this annually. Winter inspections on the airfield. So it's the ground vehicles, the fuel farm, everything, get it all set for winter. It's going to hit us sooner probably than later.
Is the CRTC going to do any, pre-winter inspections on the runway to look at any more of the scaling or anything like that?
They already have.
Okay.
Yeah, they already have. And we've gone out and I actually have pictures of everything. So it's not going to be any finger pointing this year because we had the same problem this spring as we did the previous spring. And it was the ground. I don't know if it was their blades, but we never touched the runway in 24. Our vehicles, the only thing we ran was a sweeper and that wouldn't damage the runway. And they had the same damage on the south end as they did previous on the north end. So I don't think it was either their vehicles or this was a discrepancy in the material used. They never, once it was pointed out that, hey, look, we didn't do this end and it still did the same thing. I didn't hear anything else about it except that they repaired it. So, but I do have pictures. So there's a before and after, and we are under the agreement again this year. The only thing that touches that runway is our sweeper because we're not going to invest into the poly blades. We shouldn't. We've got the new vehicles coming in you're looking at $4,000 a vehicle just to get the poly blades. Even I reached out to Elro and that'd be about, if you look at the man hours and everything involved, it'd be about $4,000. Same thing, you know, if we bought it and then made it ourselves in shop or in the shop, you're not really saving anything. But I don't see a reason if they're gonna handle runway 119 and we only have to use the sweeper, why put money into vehicles we're gonna get rid of? So we've agreed to do all the taxiways. We'll help them with their mill ramp, but their main priority is runway 119. So, and last year we helped them out more than they helped us. It's documented. And just to say, look, we're there too. So we have a great agreement with them. They were out with us on Monday to just clean up. We had some light snow and a little bit of icing, and their sweeper was running right next to ours. So like I said, we're all seem to be on the same page, and it's a great agreement. It's nice partnership right now.
Sure.
So hopefully command doesn't change and we stay on that. Let's see. So on November 10th, I amended the lease for the FBO out there with Dr. Courier, because we had done this prior with Mr. Welch. And it went from a 25-year to a 5-year lease. This was attorney reviewed for Mr. Welch, but FAA dictates that if you do for one, you have to do for the other. You can't, it can be different standards for each individual on the airfield. I have not gotten a reply back on that. I'm hoping it's just a signature and the paperwork comes back, and then I can present it. I'll keep you updated as to where we wind up, but a 25-year lease on a county building, we really shouldn't have a 25-year. We shouldn't lock ourselves out of our own building for 25 years, especially if it's not productive for the intended use. And it's really not being used for the intended use. So the county could benefit from having that building back.
So that lease is coming up?
So no, he has another 23 years on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
That's Welch or
Courier.
Courier.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, since we switched for Welch, that opened the door for us to be able to go ahead and put 5. If he's doing the right thing, it shouldn't matter if it's a 1-year, 3-year, 5-year, 25-year. He has the first option in the lease to renew. So if there's not a problem with what you're doing, what's the difference on the length of lease?
Well, I think I would assume that the person that's leasing the building would feel more secure knowing that they have an extended length lease, because who knows what could come up that could change where, now we need the building or whatever. So I would say it's more of a security thing to know that you got a 25-year lease as opposed to a 1 or 2 or 5-year lease.
Right, yeah, and that's why we went, like I said, with the 5-year versus a 1, 2, or 3-year. Anything shorter than that, but the 5-year lease was brought up to us by the attorney and said, this is what the standard is now that in the aviation industry. This is what they're going to instead of the 25-year. It's great to have that security. You're going to have a long lease, but if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing with the building, you're right on the line. How do you throw them out with a lot of legal fees? Or, it's easier to work with the 5-year, because if it continues for the 5 years, the lease is up, you don't have to renew it. 25 years, you've lost your building, you've locked yourself out. And like I said, if it's marginal, they may or may not win against, what you're trying to prove that they're doing or not doing.
So is his lease, was that a 25-year with like an annual renewal or just?
Oh, it was a 25-year lease.
So renew at 25.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, it locked us out of, with us doing the fueling, it'd be great to have that building, because where we're at in the old terminal, we can't park any aircraft in front of there. We have a jet, the commercial jet in there twice a day. So you can't park anything in front. So if we were down the way where we could park the jets, service the jets, we could get facility fees. It would be beneficial for us financially also if we could move back down the ramp.
So if I'm reading this correctly, you sent Dr. Courier a letter. You want him to change the year of his lease?
Yes.
From 25 to 5?
The 5, yes, ma'am.
And you have not received.
I have not. And the reason I sent it on the 10th was because it gave him 30 days notice. His lease was signed on the 10th of December.
Okay.
When it was signed. So I wanted to at least give him 30 days. I'll follow up before then, to see where he's at. And, I would actually like to have somebody and have a meeting with him. I don't want to, I'm not trying to oust him out. Maybe there's some kind of mutual agreement we can come to and get us into that building, and also it benefits him somehow because he has 3 other buildings on the airport. But I don't want to come in there and say, I'm throwing you out. That's the last thing I want. I'd like to see if there's something that we can mutually do for each other. You know, it'd be great to be able to work with more people. I don't want to lose people on the airfield.
Right.
So, I don't know how maybe to go about that yet on the meeting. I'll work with Jesse and we'll see how to do that. But like I said, I don't want to go to war with anybody. I want to make this a mutual agreement where it's both beneficial.
If you could, maybe just email me that piece that you sent to Courier.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Sections. November 11th, so, on 10th. Here, there, the freight ramp, Jet A tanks. So we had our tanks cleaned. That's a LARA inspection item every 3 years. We have to have the fuel tanks cleaned. They hadn't been cleaned in 9. So they had been inspected, but they hadn't been cleaned. So, I asked for an extension. We didn't get a write-up, no fines. But the tanks are taken care of right now. They've been emptied, clean. It's quite the process because you have to bring in tanker trucks to drain it. Then you have to sump out another 500 gallons that the suction won't pull. And then you have to stuff somebody down in the tank, and then they actually hand wash the tank. So they're in a 20,000 gallon tank underground for a little while. So it's quite the process, but we're back. We're good for another 3 years. And it may only need an inspection versus a cleaning, depends on what they find when the next time they do the inspection on the tank.
So you pick the lowest guy on the totem pole to go in there and clean that?
That's why we have a third party. They do tank, that's all they do is tank inspections, pump replacements. We bring somebody in that Laura works with already. They're already approved, so we don't have any hassle. We send the guy down and they're responsible for the results. So it removes a little bit of that off the airport, but they're already certified and Laura accepts any paperwork that they submit. Let's see here. We did the annual snow removal meeting with CRTC on the 12th. Again, that was just to see who was responsible for what. And it's always interesting every year because the military always has a new crew usually. So we're going to actually work with them again this year. We jump in the trucks with them and we show them about where to go with the lights and how far and what not to do, more or less, because we still haven't received our replacement lights. We were supposed to get a 10% replacement bench stock for lights from J Rank, and I emailed them off again yesterday, and we still haven't received any bench stock. So what we do is we have some extra lights that they ordered wrong, so we just go and cannibalize and fix our lights off those. So, but hopefully we don't get any damage. That would even be better.
Do you think you're gonna have a problem getting that 10%?
No, it's in the contract because I sent them, I sent them a copy of the contract saying where they owe us 10%. So they're going to try and dig up 10%. But it shouldn't take 3 years either.
Yeah, right.
You know, that's the problem. We've been asking right from the get-go, where's our bench stock? Well, then it's a supplier issue and it's, there's a lot of excuses. But I need them going into the winter season because accidents happen.
You're working with Matt on that?
Hayden.
Okay.
Yeah. So Hayden took over as the project manager for Alpena.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm working with Hayden to get that. And he seems to be good. He's new. So I'm giving him a little bit of leeway to get his feet wet before and get used to Alpena.
Sure.
You know, what we're owed and what's going on here. Again, we go through the Jet Bridge winter maintenance. This was for the hydraulic system, generator maintenance. We do all our own. We don't have a contract with anybody. So we primarily make sure everything's up and running. I was off yesterday and Monday, but I was back in the office for a while. I came up because of the conditions.
Sorry, I mean, are you required to have those load bank tested or anything?
I don't have them on an inspection sheet for that.
Okay,
Yeah, so, we have to fill out an inspection sheet for the FAA, and that's not on there.
okay.
Yep. So, and then I met with Alpena Ground Services yesterday. They're sending the new owner supervisor over. He's over there about once a week now. We never saw the previous owner. And so when,
Previous owner of Alpena Ground Service?
yeah, that was his dad. So it's Randy Senior and Randy
Oh.
Junior. So that was one of the stipulations. If you want to continue with the contract, we need you to live up to the contract.
Yep.
So he's there once a week now. So, and they're responsible. It's not just hire anybody off the street. We want, the contract specifically says we're getting trained individuals. I want trained individuals. I don't have time with now everything else that's on the plate to go out there and train individuals. I can assist them in ways, but I don't have the time to go out there and show them every little thing. They've got to have some airfield experience before they show up. So, and we're getting that.
Well, I was just going to say, how are they getting that, especially, in the local area?
So what he's doing is he's actually sending them over to, we're sending them over to Pelston. He puts them up for 2 weeks and he's doing training, hands-on training on the airfield. So that gives them a rough idea on the airfield environment. Then we're still going to have to come in and train them specifically for our airfield. Every airfield's handled different. But if we have some basic knowledge coming in, it saves us a lot of time. So, and like I said, and while they're over there, they're also doing computer training for fueling, anything that the FAA needs certified. They're doing all that training while they're there. So that's taken that away from us because we used to do that in-house. Well, we were paying for it. Why are we doing it in-house? So he's really busy now. So he busier than they've been in a while. So, but that's what he's getting paid for.
Agreed.
So
Thank you.
Did they put someone in your role here?
No,
No.
because he moved
So I'm moving the office assistant up to county. So that way she can handle monies or anything to do with any county interest. So there's really not enough, I would say, for an assistant manager to consistently be busy.
I was
And
going to say, because initially when it was brought to us, the reason behind that, their main reason was that when and if the current airport manager were to leave, you'd have someone to be able to kind of step in and then take over.
right. And I think
So as long as you can guarantee you're not going anywhere for the next 10 years, we're good.
pretty good, yeah. I like it. So, as long as you're going to keep me, I'm going to stay. So, and if there was anything like that, and I would know ahead of time. But right now, the pool's getting bigger for managers. So we're getting a lot of aviation graduates out there it's aviation management. So and I've got a list of resources that you can pull from. It's not just, throw a resume out there and see what, or throw a job description out there and see what comes back. There's institutes now that are placing people. So, there's a lot of different avenues, but for one, I don't plan on going anywhere. I enjoy what I do. So we're down to discussion items. So recently it came up, there's we had a tenant on the field. He built his own hangar. Unfortunately, we lost him in an airplane crash last fall down in Lowell. So I've talked to Jesse. We're still negotiating on purchasing the hangar to see if the airport has funds to purchase that hangar. So I think it would be beneficial to the airport if they purchase that hangar, and we have someone that's interested in leasing that hangar. So the hangar would remain, it's on the airport. It would be airport property. It would also add to the T hangars that are going up. So, and the cost is reasonable on that. So
Reasonable to purchase it?
Yeah, it's $30,000 to purchase the hangar.
So
We also have an individual interested in possibly purchasing it. So I found out Monday morning, you should have a letter from.
I was gonna ask for this letter.
Yeah. So Monday morning, Sid reached out to me.
You must be Sid?
Yes, yep. I've not gotten a chance to go through and look at everything yet, but I was gonna reach out to him and meet with him later this week. Yesterday and Monday afternoon were quite busy for me, but I have to go through and look at everything, and then I was gonna meet with Sid and Mick and kind of discuss options and whatever he was looking at doing.
But
So
where, you said if we didn't buy it, I mean, it's on our property, what would we do? Or what would happen if we didn't buy it?
Well, it could be sold and then leased out.
Oh,
So it can be sold. I think it would be more beneficial to the airport. And then expenses with it. Also, there's only one drawback with the hangar. It's solar powered. It works.
on
The
a
sun's out
day.
on a sunny day. So, but there hasn't been a problem. You can hook a small generator up to it. But we've got the T hangers going in right behind it, and it shouldn't be much to pipe the electricity to it from there. So we can, the county could go for reasonable cost, get electricity to it. It could have a solar backup if needed. But we would own the building, and then Sid's interested in leasing the building. So again, with the hangars going in and everything, I think it would be an asset to the airport that we could offer for lease.
Sid has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I address the commissioners, please?
Certainly.
My name is Sid Housing. I'm a resident here, City of Alpena. I'm actively engaged in sport and hobby at the general aviation area of Hunter County Airport. I know Mick through that endeavor, and we have talked prior to the meeting this morning about purchasing the hangar in question. At this point, I'm a little confused. He says, and Jesse has said something about they're in the process of purchasing this hangar. And I beg to differ with both of them, or at least with what Mick has just told us. I am in the process of purchasing that hangar. I have a written agreement with the current owner, the widow of Kevin Lawrence. And I have put a monetary deposit down to secure that purchase agreement. I find it a little questionable for Mr. Higgins to come in here, if you will, and say that he's in the process of purchasing. He is not. I am. I have submitted a letter prior to this meeting this morning in a timely fashion requesting that you as commissioners consider the reassignment of the current Lawrence lease contract to my name. That would allow me to forward the purchase price to Mrs. Lawrence and secure the private possession, if you will, of the hangar building. We're all with the understanding that the property belongs to the county. Nobody's arguing that or pointing out anything different. I'm only requesting that I be allowed to move forward with the purchase of the hangar, that I'm currently under an agreement to do so if the commission will allow my application for reassignment or allowing me to assume the Lawrence lease under my name.
So to clarify, I never made any statement that we were in the middle of buying it at all. What I said was I'm looking at the process.
I saw the agreement. I just assumed that the two of you were working together. I stand corrected. I'm not arguing about any point.
Right, I just wanted to make that clear. So all I was saying for the last 2 days, I've been too busy to look. I did message you and say I was looking into the process because when it comes to selling a properties or leases I always have to look at the contracts, the leases. I don't just, so I've not been able to do that. That's why I said I was planning on meeting with Sid later this week once I was able to pull that information up. I don't know if I need to talk to the FAA, the CRTC through partnership, because I don't know whether they have any say over it. I don't know if the county has any type of protocol or ordinances when it comes to property coming up for sale, whether we look at purchasing it as well. So that's why I said I was looking at the process. I have not talked to Mick outside of just surface conversation probably as much as it was in your letter, but.
Again, I have already stated the fact that I may have erred.
And that's fine.
And I apologize.
No, I just wanted to make
I
sure.
would like to point out, though, that the process is no mystery to anybody here in this room. Mick himself has just released and assumed a lease on an existing hangar. He bought the hangar, he bought the airplane from the previous owner just a month ago. So we've gone through this process. I'm not surprising anybody. I'm trying to do it properly. If the wording, the verbiage that I included in the letter is confusing, I'm here to clarify any questions that you may have. I'm an amateur at this. I merely put it into a questioning format in a letter, one page, by the way, to keep it short, requesting that the commission consider my request for a reassignment of the current lease to my name so I can continue with the purchase and use it as a privately owned hangar for the future of general aviation and my own benefit. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes,
The hangar was built on the county property,
yes.
so he has a lease, correct?
So the individual has passed away that has a lease.
Okay, so is there anything in the contract that the lease that states, like for instance, if the owner passes away, that reverts back to the county?
No,
Okay.
Well, the lease
So
would actually,
it's a lease.
correct.
Okay. So now the widow owns.
Owns the hangar. It would assume the lease.
Okay, so she can either pay the lease every month or every year, even though she doesn't apparently fly or whatever.
No,
Or we can order her to tear it down,
we wouldn't.
which we could.
you could actually request to have the building removed.
Right.
Because of the lease and because it was intended for aviation use to house an aircraft. And if she doesn't have an aircraft, and without permission from the commissioners, she can't sublease it. You could actually request to have the building removed,
So she cannot sublease it.
not without the permission of the commissioners. And that's in the lease.
Can she sell it?
She can sell it. She can sell the building. Now, that being said, it's up to the county, because it's county property, whether they will give another lease to another individual. So the county has the right to lease or not lease
Right.
that property.
So
It would be sold
I'm sorry.
with the continuing lease.
Yes.
So I think the,
she could sell it.
Well, she can sell it
Okay, so whoever purchases it,
if agreed upon,
Okay.
could lease it. Yes,
and then he would have to pay us the lease.
yes.
So why would he want to buy it?
I assume you have an airplane, sir?
Sir,
I assume you have an airplane?
I have 3 airplanes. My family goes back to World War II in the use of this county airport facility. I myself have over 25 years of active participation in the general aviation community. I'm currently an EAA member. I built or helped build the hangar that the EAA has. I helped build Mr. Lawrence's hangar. I have a personal interest in the purchase. I'm a friend of Lois and the former Kevin, and she chose me to ask if I was interested in buying the hangar. We're trying to help her out. She's considering moving downstate because of the situation she's in now as a widow. And it behooves me to move into my own personal hangar at this point. I can afford it. I'd like to do it.
Do you have a hangar now?
Sir?
Do you have a hangar now?
No, I'm renting a small area in the 4-place EAA hangar in the general aviation area.
Okay. Thank you.
So I think the commissioners are basically proving the fact that, again, we do have some research that we still need to do in this as far as making sure we look at the lease and the contract, we go through it. I have a duty to meet with Sid and collect more information to present to the board as far as what this would look like. Ultimately, the board would have to decide whether it's in the best interest of the county to also put a bid in, or whether to sell or lease, or however they would like to approach. Obviously, my job is to execute what the board directs me to do. And then, of course, at the same time, we have, sorry. Mrs. Lawrence, who would have to make a decision as well. So, again, I guess I would just ask the board to direct me to go ahead and conduct that business and report back to the full board next week.
Also, I think, I'll make a motion that we table this until Jesse gets all the answers to our questions. Because we're not really sure at this point, what we should do. So I think Jesse would be the person to look everything over and give us a direction.
Well, give us the information so
Right.
we can make an
Right,
informed
make a
decision.
decision. So that was my motion to table it.
So we have a motion, from Commissioner Fournier.
Yeah, I think we obviously need more information, so I'll support it.
So we have a motion and support to obtain some additional information for, further discussion at the next full board meeting. And to answer your question, yes, we'll certainly entertain, being able to give you a lease, if this purchase goes through or what have you. We're going to look at everything and see where we stand as a county and where she stands as the owner of the building, and, get all of our information together and see where we go from here.
And just for the sake of discussion too, if I could, another item that we'd have to look to, and again, so I'm not trying to be difficult, but there is a lot to go into this. As Mick reported earlier, we had these 25-year leases, and the FAA is saying we now take these down to 5-year leases. This was a 25-year lease. They were 3 years in. So now is it a 2-year lease? Is it a new 5-year lease? It can't be a 20.
Well, if it's a new person,
No, it would be a 5-year lease.
yeah, if it's a new individual.
Correct.
That's what I mean, though, is the lease that we're discussing right now, though, would be a 22. So these are the things that I just want to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row before, the commissioners have all this information before they make a decision. That's all.
Did you just indicated that the FAA is actually putting pressure on this as far as the lease term? Is that the case?
From my understanding, they said that if we go with one, we have to do it with the rest. And
Right, it has to be uniform on the airport.
we had a 5 years, so. And that's why Dr.
This was 25 and Kruger's was 25.
Yes.
But you're saying somebody's putting pressure on you not to do that anymore?
No, because he's saying that because we went to a 5-year lease with another individual,
Yes.
that we have to kind of make it uniform across when the leases are up.
I think you need to be really careful with that about shooting yourself in the foot for further development out there, because there's nobody going to make that kind of investment on a 5-year plan.
Correct. And there are stipulations in
I mean, nobody would put up a hangar, for instance,
right.
on a 5-year property lease. That
Right. There's stipulation, yeah. So if you build a hangar, a commercial hangar intended for commercial use, and a fixed base operations hangar, you are able to apply for a 25-year lease, but that's a business hangar. So it removes anybody that wants to build something out there for business, but it also doesn't tie up your land for private or county-owned buildings.
Right, but you're going to get a couple of T hangars, so you're going to have a bunch of hangars in there. So what's the goal? What would be the goal of the county trying to buy this out from under Mr. Housing?
So it's not trying to buy it off from under, it's just.
He's already got some kind of purchase agreement going.
I've talked to the individual that owns it. He does. Yeah. And
Getting off track.
there's other, like I said, it might be as we research it out a little bit more to find, I don't know everything about that.
Okay.
Well, and we'll get more information.
Yeah, I think, we spent enough time on this, I think.
Sure. Yeah, it's okay. So, and I just had a
So
couple.
we have to take,
If I understand this correctly, then you're delaying any decision today on my request,
yes,
and you'd like another month, or at least the chairman is saying
not a month, not a month.
next board meeting, which will be a month from now.
No, next week.
You'll
Next week.
next week.
Next week? Oh, okay.
Tuesday.
Well, it still gives them a week to twist her arm, give her a guilt complex and try to offer a little more money. But that's fine. I'll be back in a week and we'll find out how this
Right,
transpires.
because we're not sure just exactly what the lease says and really what we can do at this point.
We have the professional here with us this morning. He knows exactly what's in the
We
lease.
have to find
He's
out
explained it.
what we,
And all of a sudden, we're finding out a huge amount of information that you people are aware of. I'm a little disappointed that we couldn't move forward with a simple request today, but
okay.
so be it.
So-
We'll be back together next week.
Okay, so we've got a motion and support. We'll take a roll call vote on that.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes,
Commissioner Kondrashevsky.
Yes.
All right, just to wrap up, current projects right now, the T hangers, slated to start in the spring of 26. Delivery of the 2, plow trucks. Again, that's going to be dated slated right now for May of 26. Airport layout plan is going to be carried over to the fiscal year 2026, still being worked on.
Is that done by RF&H?
Yes, it is. Any other questions?
I have none.
I think so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mick. All right, we'll move on to Jesse.
We had an individual approach, the county clerk recently, requesting to be able to collect signatures for a ballot initiative. It wasn't really, well, she wanted to set up a small table near the entrance door, kind of off to the side. But if it started raining, wanted to be able to come inside and sit at the table in the middle of the lobby, if people wanted to sign. It's the recommendation of both our county clerk as well as the county clerks association that we put in place an ordinance that says whether or not this is allowed, whether or not you want to allow individuals to be able to be on our property to collect signatures for things like ballot initiatives, or whether or not you don't want them on county property. I don't know if the issue is so much the outdoor, but when they come inside, it kind of becomes an issue. It's not a location for voting, so it wouldn't be illegal should the board choose to allow individuals to do it. It's just more, if you allow it for one, you have to allow it for all. So I guess we're just looking to put something in place in writing so we know how to answer these questions in the future when people come in and request to be able to do this type of stuff. Again, it's the county clerk and the county clerks association that we put something in writing. So I guess I'd just leave that out there for discussion.
I have mixed emotions. I mean, it's a county building, but I feel like we might also be opening ourselves up for a lot.
I agree. I mean, my recommendation would be that we don't allow it, but again, it's totally up to
I think you need to get some legal advice on that, whether you can even not allow it.
you cannot allow it. It just has to be
Who said that?
according to the County Clerks Association.
They have what authority, really?
I mean, I can pull the letter. They cite whether or not it's allowed, but legally,
I guess I'd like to see that before we did anything.
okay.
So I guess I would look for a motion to table that pending some
I'll make that motion. I need
information as
more
well.
information.
All right.
I'll support.
Okay, we got motion and support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say sign. Okay,
There was one item that was added, Chairman, sorry, before you arrived. Yesterday we had the food drive, the food bank out at the fairgrounds. It was a huge success. At the end of it, we were approached by Courtney Holmes, who organizes it, and asked if this might be something we'd be willing to do once a month. She'd like to set it up so that they can choose like a certain day of the month that people would know, like maybe the 15th or the 20th or the third Saturday, or they would work with the superintendent and myself and figure out which day would be best. But it's something they'd be able to use monthly. We did bring up the fact that the fair week in August might become an issue. They said obviously there would be occasions where they could skip it, but if they can find something that's a little bit regular, a consistent location, they think it'd be helpful. It's pretty easy. The truck comes and drops everything off. They have volunteers that unload it, set it up. They do clean up afterwards. I think the worst thing that happens is you have about 3 or 4 wooden pallets and some cardboard that sits off to the side for 2 or 3 days till the food truck comes back around and collects it.
They've done it enough too, to know that, because I've done it in the past where we've had stacks of pallets, but the way we did it yesterday was we literally took all the stuff off the pallets so the truck could take, and they're responsible for the pallets. Food bank is responsible for those pallets and making sure, because they get charged or whatever. So one of the things that I think is, every time that I've done it, has been great in having the conversations with Courtney, is the fact that we have a big enough area where these cars aren't lined up on the streets, because other locations that becomes a problem. Where I got there at 12:30 yesterday and they were already in line, and we didn't even start doing anything until 2:30, 2 o'clock. So I just mentioned, I said this, I think it's a great a community effort. It's good for our county commissioners to be able to use. It doesn't cost anything. I know the former superintendent really didn't like it because he always complained that there was all kinds of trash. But other than the couple pieces of cabbage laying on the ground, the majority of it was all picked up.
And you keep that area all plowed all winter long anyway, right?
Yeah, that's plowed all winter. And my only concern would be if we do this during camping season, that line of cars is gonna be wrapped around the campground. I don't know how that.
Well, we can come up with a different way too, but, because there's, you go around you could go around, because we did the parade during COVID and we literally sent people around the racetrack, but you're still gonna get people over there. There's,
The inside of the arena is a big enough area to make loop too.
yeah, and you're only talking an hour or so, hour and a half.
I agree. I think it's probably a good idea. And it's probably one of the safer places to do it.
Yep.
So, yeah, I would look for a
I'll
motion.
make a motion to,
The motion would read to, working with the superintendent and administrator, allow for the regular use by Courtney Holmes in conducting her monthly food bank operations.
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I'll support it.
Okay, so we got motion to support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries.
That's
Okay,
all I have, Chairman.
right. Yeah. What's that?
Me?
John? Okay, John.
So I just wanted to have the discussion and conversation, because we really have just over a month, a little over a month and a half or so, whatever it was, that we have to make a decision on how we want to move forward with the rink. I know we had that discussion at one of our previous meetings about, do we want to renew the contract? We have, Jesse, what's the date? Is it the first of?
Up to the end of December to get back to them, and then they have until the end of March.
Their lease is up at 1st or 31st of March,
Correct.
because they would renew it 1 April.
We have to notify them by the end
Yeah.
of December.
So my question is, and I figured we'd have that discussion here, because again, we can bring it to full board and have a discussion, but we really need to make a decision. And my point with potentially looking, and again, I don't have all the answers. We still need to figure some stuff out, but right now we're on track. Or we're not on track. We have about $147,000 in that surcharge fund. And in the entire time that I've been a commissioner, for 9 years, we've probably increased it, maybe $40,000. And as I mentioned in the discussion that we had previously, we need to really look at how to increase our surcharge fund. And I know the current contract, the owner stated that if the Amoresco, the bond payment wasn't so high, he could give us some of that money. But, and again, we've all looked, I don't know how much more you were able to look at the financials on that.
I got 23 and 24 and they made some money in 23 and lost money in 24 and are losing money so far in 25.
Well,
That said, that doesn't necessarily, paint the whole picture. For it to be meaningful, I need another couple of years back in order to really actually look at something. I personally think that managing the rink is a lot bigger deal than managing the pool.
yeah,
They have to do a lot more legwork in order to keep that thing busy and particularly in the off season stuff, in order to generate revenue. That said, I don't have any long-term heartburn about it. I just don't know that we're really ready to actually take on that whole thing.
well, and again, we need this discussion now because
Agreed.
otherwise we're going to be in another at least 3-year lease.
Well, does it have to be though? I mean, well, we could go back to them and say, we'll give you one while we get this sorted out and figure it out on our end. I
Can't remember, does the lease, I think the lease said something about extensions.
They asked for an extension of the current lease for another 3 years. But again, as Commissioner Britton said, that's up to you whether you want to entertain that. They're requesting it. You could absolutely say, no, it's going to be a 1 year or a 2 year.
We do seriously have to start thinking about, new roof, new HVAC.
Agreed.
All is, and again, any one of those items is going to cost.
Is that different? I mean, is that a different subject though? I mean, do we need to increase the surcharge in order to try to generate some more funds out of there? Yeah, right now, my point is I don't see where there's enough money being generated out of the thing that it's gonna fill your coffers that you're looking for.
And I don't know what you looked at. I was looking at the financial statements that I looked at. Basically, I think it was 23 and I thought it was 23 and 24, where at the end of the December, they had a total revenue of about $200,000 for those 2-year period.
I looked at it on a monthly basis and I don't have it with me, but anyway, so I didn't see that.
Okay, well,
I saw a profit in 23, but definitely a loss in 24 and a loss so far in 25. Yeah, you're coming into the good months, right? November and December will be better.
Their fiscal year goes from January. It used to go from June to or July to June or something, and then they've changed it. So it's January to, I think, December.
Correct.
So
that's what the ones I looked at.
but like I said, we need to have, and I figured we'd have that discussion here because it's related to facilities.
Mhm.
We do have to make a decision whether that decision is to renew the lease, because come January, we're going to have to at least notify them on which way we're going.
Right. And I would suggest if we want to take a serious look at actually taking that back, like the pool, that we need a little more time than what we have between now and January. So I would suggest that we look at offering them a year now while we can further explore that.
Okay. So do we want to make a motion for that, or because this has to go to full board, obviously, next week. And then we only have a month to really, a little over a month to notify them.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Right. Well, I shouldn't be doing all the talking here.
No, you've done the due diligence, so I appreciate it. So we do have a motion on the floor to offer them a 12-month lease for us to do some additional due diligence here to see what the best plan moving forward is to make sure we have sufficient funds to maintain that building.
I'll support.
Okay, we got motion and support. I'll look for, I guess we'll just do all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried.
I do think that, we do need, I agree with you 100%. We need to look at something to find out or figure out a way to build up some revenue and to take care, because you're going to have some big ticket maintenance items on that thing coming.
Yeah.
So, I agree with you 100% on that. We need to look at that and try to figure out how we're going to fill that gap.
And I'm sure they're going to be on board as well, because they're not going to want a building that we can't afford to maintain and they're stuck with for a couple of years or whatever. So.
Okay, then I got one more thing. So the Northeast Michigan Material Management Authority, and I should have sent this information to you, but I was talking to the clerk. There was an invoice sent to them, to NEMA, for a late fee where I believe it was $540 something. their contract states that the lease that they have for the land lease will be paid by June 1st or July 1st. I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head. So it's due on that 1st of June or July, whichever one it is. It might be July. And if the payment isn't received by the clerk, there'll be a 10% late fee on that. And so I did some looking, and from what I found out, last year, they didn't pay their lease payment until September, beginning of October. We did not charge them last year. It was due again this year in June or July. They didn't make that payment. Invoice was sent for the $540, whatever dollars it was. I was asked by the president of NEMA if we could kind of waive that fee. I said, I'll look into it and bring it, because I said, I'm not making that decision that, I'm not the guy making all the decisions here. So we did invoice them. They do have the $500 invoice out there right now. And the other part of this is she had asked, because they had some turnover with the accounting people. They didn't have any turnover with the accounting people last year. The accounting people that were there last year paid it, but they paid it late. We didn't charge them. Again, they did have some turnover, I think probably back in September or whenever it was, middle of summer. We invoiced them after we invoiced the late payment after we received the lease payment, which we got in, I believe, again, September, October of this year. So she did mention that could we invoice them, but the lease literally states that we won't be sending an invoice to notify them that they owe us the money. So basically everything I see shows that we did everything right. There may have been some turnover at NEMA, but based on what the lease payment or the lease states is that if it's late, there'll be a 10% fee. So I'm bringing it to you guys for a decision how you want to move forward.
I think that's fair.
That I brought it to you?
Well, I think it's fair that we charge 10%. They have a year's notice.
Yeah,
I mean, it's $540 for the whole year.
the late payment.
Okay.
So their lease payment,
55,000.
yeah.
Okay.
And their lease payment goes up by 3% every year. So last year it was, maybe it might have been $570 this year, because last year I believe it was $5,400 and the 3% increase went to $5,700. So it was probably the payment invoice, late payment was $570 this year. And again, we didn't charge them last year for whatever reason. Maybe someone didn't see it in the lease, but the invoice did go this year.
So we are invoicing them.
We did invoice them. I was asked,
Want it waived.
yeah, I was asked if there was a way that I could make it go away. So,
2 years in a row.
Yeah.
well, we didn't
We didn't even bill them.
didn't invoice them the late fee last year. We did this year.
Well, I agree with charging them, because if we keep letting them go, then they'll just keep being
Well-
late. And, if that was to happen to one of us or county commissioners, well, we'd have to pay it.
I'd cut you some slack, Brenda.
You'd go. Okay.
I don't know if I believe them.
Yeah.
And if, if we let them get away with it, we're gonna start a domino effect. And then everybody's me too. So I
So-
believe that we should charge them the 10%.
So everyone's good with, and I don't know if we really need to do anything because we've already done it.
I think it's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. All right, and that's all I had.
Okay. I look for a motion to adjourn.
One more thing, I should have added it to the agenda. I did, MDOT, the building out there, Spicer Group, the guy's gonna be here on the third.
3rd of December.
Yeah, they finally got the internet up and running, so he's actually been actively monitoring. He had to go back to Control Solutions and ask for some more, there was like some damper position information that wasn't being logged. So Control Solutions had to do a little nominal adjustment to the software or whatever to make that, get him that. So he's happy with what he's getting now. And anyway, I'm meeting him on site on the 3rd of December.
All right, thanks for the update. Okay, now I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I just have one more question. And that would be for Nick. I noticed Nick's here today. Did you have anything you wanted to report?
No, just kind of invited, so say hi, and obviously meet the guy.
Everything's okay?
Everything's good, yeah, that's the stuff. I read some yesterday, so.
All right. Okay, that's all I got.
Still look for a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All right, we got motion and support, meeting adjourned.